To design and product fit. And in the design and product fit, we've got environmental sustainability, ESD, and cost-effective design, things that you got to be careful of. So your product fit is basically your configuration, whether it's going to be 3-bedder, 2-bedder, apartment or townhouse, inverse living, or the normal living, depending upon where the location is. Those are the things that come from what the demographic in the area is and what are they looking for. So this product fit will always stem from your research about the area. So it's a 2-bedder versus 1-bedder. What's your target market? It's going to be investor or an owner occupied. Demographics, demand versus supply, whether people are looking for apartments or they're looking for townhouses. What sizes? Again, 2-bedders versus 3-bedders. Plus consider the gross floor area. If you're trying to develop 3-bedders, look at the 3-bedder floor area in your area. And we touched on this when we were doing feasibility to look at, 3-bedders are usually 150 to 160 square meters in the built area. And 2-bedders are usually 130 to 140 square meters. And look in your area where, how big are the 3-bedders that they're developing in that area? Are they 160? Are they 150? Because you don't want to develop a 170 square meter 3-bedder, because you'll be paying more for construction, but your cost for the for perceived 3-bedder will not you'll actually end up paying more, but you won't necessarily get more for the land, because the moment they look at a 3-bedder, they say, oh, 3-bedder up the road is for 650, but how come yours is for 670 or 680? Now you might spend the time where you're trying to justify because mine is 10 square meter bigger than those ones. You can, but it is better to actually stick with what the area is going and what the confirmed sales are at. So those are the things that determine a product fit. So and owner occupied and renter again will determine the type of finish you're going to do. Ensuite to main bedroom and powder room downstairs are usually expected. These days it's just kind of become standard with some specifications, and when we get into marketing, I'll share some specifications with you guys that have just started to become standard. I mean, those are the specifications that are becoming more and more standard in the demographic and the area that I work in. And you'll have to find and do the research on your side, on the market that you are in, to figure out what those sites are going to be. So talk to real estate agents, what's selling, what's in demand, and you can do that by talking to the agents. You can do that by talking to different builders, what the kind of building that's happening, and it's very easily done. This is like maybe 2 weekends. You go and have a look at the units that are already built or being sold, and you'll quickly be able to pick up some commonalities between the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. So environmental sustainability, so is the ability to maintain the qualities that are valued in the physical environment. So there's a thing called social sustainability, and this is more theory kind of way, but you should know what these things are, because when you start putting these designs together, you'll be able to understand them better. So socially sustainable homes are designed with all people in mind. Features such as flexibility, comfort, access, safety, security are addressed so that homes accommodate the changing needs of occupants and guests. Human comfort. The home provides an internal environment that is thermally, visually, and acoustically comfortable. So you don't have to worry about what these things are and how do you make sure, because the building regulation is such that they will not let you build something that doesn't comply. So energy rating, like in Victoria, has gone to 6-star energy rating. Used to be 5-star just 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I remember in 2013 when I was starting and doing that, the first project I did, it only required 5-star energy rating, and after that they changed, and now it's become 6-star energy rating. So what that is, they want to make sure that the house is not losing too much heat or absorbing. There's not or there's enough insulation in there, or if there are too many windows, the windows have to be double glazed or triple glazed. And if you are getting too much light in or too many windows in, then you got to counter that with solar so that you're saving the energy. So that's what the energy rating is all about. Human health. A healthy home reduces hazards to human health within the home. Example, presence of toxic chemicals, mold, etc., and promotes natural lighting and ventilation. So this is all about natural lighting. So they would always want some sort of some sort of natural light coming into the house, so that during the day you use less electricity, and at night is when you can use more electricity. So that's how, this is a basic design concepts. Safety, the design minimizes the possibility of falls, driveway runovers, burns, and poisoning, enhances the ability to supervise children in outdoor play areas. The likelihood of injuries occurring in and around the home for people of all ages is reduced. So I'll give you an example of safety. They came up with a new regulation where, the stairs, all the stairs have to be anti-skid. So they can't be like polished floorboard where somebody coming down in their socks can slip. So they've got to have that anti-skid steps. So it's like their way of making sure that everything is minimized. So they've got to be certain height, which is all basic common building codes of Australia stipulates all of these things. But the new one, I know for sure that the railing on the stairs and the anti-skid, so that the steps can't be too shiny or too polished where somebody can slip over them. Security, the home uses design, fixtures, and fittings to reduce crime and protect the home from malicious intruders. It enables formal surveillance of the yard, informal surveillance, street and neighboring properties. I'll give you an example. The 12 units that we are building that are already built in the 230 Station Street, Edithville. There are 12 of them. All the doors are clear glass, and that was stipulated by the council to promote passive surveillance. So it's you can't really see all the way in the house, but as part of the building regulations, that the regulations or the conditions that were put on us, we had to leave the front door of the house in clear glass. It's tough on glass. It can't be broken, but it makes it easier for people to actually see through it, and they've put that regulation in, put that condition in for passive surveillance, so people can keep an eye on what's going on with other units in the area. Universal design, the home is versatile and comfortable for a diverse range of people and at different stages of their lives. It is easy to move around the house, and the operation of fittings fixture caters for people of all ages and abilities. The home is easily accessed by occupants, visitors, and emergency services. So they won't let you build a house where you can't have wheelchair access, or somebody who has a disability can't move around the place easily. So these are standard things that come in. So if it's on a height, they'll get you to put in a lift in it with a wider width of the front door, so people on wheelchair can use that property. So they will never let you develop something which is not for people who have a disability. So all houses have to be designed in a way that anybody who buys it can live in there. Sense of community, the homes contributes to an improved community identity by enhancing the urban fabric of the neighborhood and promoting opportunities for neighborhood interaction through appropriate design. So this depends upon the design, how the common areas are and all that. So economically sustainable homes are most cost efficient over time. They feature smart design and use low maintenance material and appliances with high water and energy rating to reduce the ongoing cost of running the home. So these days solar and all that is coming into play. natural heating and cooling that can be achieved by considering orientation, ventilation, insulation, shading and materials, and so on. So this is common sense, where the architect would design it so that, you know, the north or the east facing side of the house, you got the living area, so it has the more natural light throughout the day, or your courtyard and everything is towards the north side of it, so that you get the sun, you get the natural light as much as possible. So initial cost, the design of the home considers the size of the dwelling to reduce the cost of construction. The cost of building materials are calculated on their capital costs as well as their potential ongoing savings and cost effectiveness. The design considers standard size products and use of recycled, readily available local building materials. So again, this is all theory. You won't be able to build something without considering these, because the building code of Australia has certain benchmarks and certain standard things that you've got to hit unless you don't get a building permit. Maintenance cost, selection of building material considers the long-term maintenance expense, running costs, things like utilities, alternative energy sources, solar, gas, more efficient, like water showers, you get them to be more efficient. Passive design reduces the need for artificial lighting and climate control. Future modification costs, design minimizes the need for future modification to cater to occupants' changing requirement. So it's not like you build something and then later on you realize, oh, instead of 3 bedder, it had to be 4 bedder. So these days, once you build a townhouse with 3 bedders, there is no room for any kind of extension to it. Community cost, the design of the home works to minimize the cost of the broader community. For example, utility, transport costs, provision of medical emergency services, as well as fitting in with the context of the neighborhood. So these are just basic theory stuff, but as a developer you should understand them. Those are the things that you would need to comply. Certain design principles that when you see your drawings that come back from the architect, go through this section again and see if it makes sense to you. So northern orientation of the living rooms. So this is the same thing that I said. By having living spaces positioned to make the most of northern sunlight through appropriate window orientation, sizing, and shading. Carefully selecting your site so your home orientation takes advantage of solar energy, can help you achieve up to 1 star of your rating. You got to minimize east and west facing walls, wider eaves and awnings for shading. Make better use of the sun by shading windows in summer with eaves and external blinds and tailored landscaping. Natural ventilation through windows and doorways. Increase insulation in roof space and walls. So if you insulate the walls, ceilings, and suspend timber floors to reduce heat losses in winter and heat gains in summer, insulation is a very cost-effective means of improving the building's performance. Treated glazing, particularly for windows facing west and northwest, light-colored roof, external walls, ceiling fans in living areas, especially in Queensland. Well-designed and located outdoor living areas, decks, verandas, patios. Design your home to complement its construction. So concrete slab floors and those with suspended timber floors each perform differently in summer and winter. For example, carpet can provide timber floor homes with extra floor insulation for warmth in winter, whereas tiles on a concrete slab will make it easier for the floor to store solar energy collected through good passive design. So these are all design things. If you wanted to know more about this, you can visit this website, environmental natural resources and environmental sustainability. You'll find things over there. Certain things that I've picked up throughout all the developments, from practical things. So you got to minimize the hips and valleys in the roof. The more hips and valleys, the more costly the roof is going to be. Minimize corners and returns on perimeter walls. Don't make bedrooms apartments too small, and some banks will never finance apartments smaller than 45 or 50 square meters. Anything smaller than that, which is known as a studio apartments, banks don't want to look at it. They will not finance it, and if they're not going to finance it, imagine you won't be able to sell it, because whoever has to buy it also has to go and get finance. Use light color scheme and let in natural light. Brick veneer versus render versus weatherboard. So your external, if it's all brick veneer, it's going to be more cost. If it's brick veneer on the ground floor and then render at the top, that's a good combination to offset the costs for building, and most houses are actually being built like that. Building on stumps versus concrete slab versus screw piles, different scenarios. And not only that, you can, even in the concrete slab, you could add waffle slab. A waffle slab is like a hollow concrete slab, and they put a waffle in the middle, but it's more than enough to handle up to, I think, 3 ton or 4 tons or something, no more than that. So you can park your vehicle, it won't cave in, but it can save you cost on construction. Actually, recommended this to one of my mentoring students in New South Wales, who's doing a development there, and I said his cost of construction was way too high, so I asked him to go for waffle slabs so that he can reduce the cost of construction a bit. Even if you can shave off 5 grand or 10 grand a slab, you've just saved 20 grand on a project that you didn't know that you could save. So concrete slab requires foundations and footings. Stumps require strip footings plus brickwork up to floor level, and then timber flooring and screw piles screwed into the ground 2 to 3 meter deep. Then you build a floor on top of it. So, but it also depends upon the kind of slab, the kind of soil conditions that you have, and your soil report would dictate all of that. So that was the design and the product fit as well. Tomorrow we're going to go deep into consultants, kind of reports, and different kinds of permits that we need, and the different processes for getting the permit and the building approval. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. But for today, I think we are done for today. It's almost 8:45. And if someone's got any questions, please raise the hand, and I'll be happy to take those questions. And okay, Satish, hang on one second. Yes, Satish.
Hi, Amber. Just a quick question on the foundation. Is it true that the waffle pod is subject to cracking over a period of time?
It is.
Or do you generally not worry about it because you're selling it?
No, not really. It is subject. It can crack, but it comes with different ratings. Where if you want to park a 4-ton vehicle, that means a 4-wheel drive, let's say a Range Rover, or I don't know, Ford Discovery or whatever, the Land Rover or whatever that is, which are considered to be more heavy vehicles. If they can be parked on it and without cracking, then you got no issues. No one's going to park a truck or a semi-trailer in your garage. You know what I mean? And on your house, you're not going to be parking the car at all. So it's not like that you'll jump on your floor and there'll be a hole in the ground. So it doesn't work like that. It's cheaper because it uses less concrete.
Okay. And is there any foundation called a raft slab?
I've got no idea because I'm not a construction expert. So these are the things that I've come across myself and in construction, and these are the things that we've traded off to offset costs. I haven't put in the things that where we've actually paid more to cut short the time. Yeah, those are certain things that we've come across. Then, and as a developer, that's what you'll come across. And you can sit with your builder and say, look, where are the places where I can reduce my costs? And most of the builders would actually tell you where you can. So I've got no idea about the ref one. That's a question that I can put up to Sam, who's the builder that I work with. Yeah, we've never used it.
No problem. I'll drop a note to you. I'll write an email.
Yeah, sure. If you've got any specific question regarding construction, I can get Sam to give me his take on whatever construction that you may have.
Thanks, Amber.
Sure. Anybody else who would like to ask a question? Okay, then we're gonna call it a night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much.